the Valencian Textile Business Association, and General Secretary at Consejo Intertextil Español, the Spanish Textile Business Association. He has a degree in enterprise science and also holds an MBA and an Essence of Cluster Excellence Management with more than 15 years experience in project management. He's an expert coordinator of European projects. He has a wide knowledge of the textile sector, which has brought him a great deal of contacts with companies in the sector at regional, national, and international level. He's associate coach, number CA 178, with the skills covered, executive and entrepreneur coaching. He co-leads the Regiotex initiative.
So thank you, Ariadna. Many hats, just one hat, because this morning you know that I took the pleasure to replace my president, the president of the textile industry in Spain. But now I have another hat, because as Ariadna said now, I am cluster manager in Valencia region. This is a nice cluster, and I will give you some pictures, or some picture about this cluster. But first of all, I will give you some news, bad news and good news. First, the bad news. The bad news is that I have 121 slides, so maybe Ariana has to delay the dinner for today. And the good news is that this is not true. I have not any slides, so don't worry. But what is true also is that Ariana gave me the opportunity to talk a little bit about the clustering. I am an appassionate of the clusters from long time ago, so before I got gray my hair even, so many years ago. In any case, and Ariadna gave me a nice title of my intervention today, and the name of my intervention is Clusters, Cooperation as a Key of Successful, and this is a good starting point for me. In fact, I will take 3 keywords of this title in order to explain my experience in I don't know if success, but if I am here after 10 years of clustering, I will say that some good things we made in the past, and I guess in the future. In any case, I will start with the last word, keyword, successful, because it's obvious that the companies have many key points in order to be more competitive, to be more strong in the markets. I will try to underline 3 key points for the companies. The first that I identified is differentiation. So the companies are trying to be different in the markets, trying to make different products, different services, in order to be more visible, especially in a world very, very competitive, you know. So the companies that are in a cluster, for those kind of companies, is really easy to compare with other companies, and in this case is also easy to make difference between different companies. So those companies that are in a cluster, for them usually it's very natural to find people in the restaurants, even in the meetings, in the association, and even in the towns, if the cluster is small, or the cities, in order to share new experiences, share new products, ideas. And for these kind of companies in the clusters, it's very, very easy normally to find difference between their companies and the other companies. So differentiation is a key point for the cluster and a natural issue in the cluster normally. The second point that I underlined is decrease cost, of course. In a very competitive world, the companies are trying to find ways to decrease the cost in the companies. So, if the companies are in a cluster, normally they have the chance to find very close to there some clients or some providers, and the logistics issues is cheaper, and also they companies in the cluster can find different providers of from the same service. So for this reason, normally the companies that are placed in a cluster normally has the advantage to find many opportunities to decrease the cost in services or in products that help them to be more cheaper for their products. And the last keyword that I identified is internationalization. Of course, this is a very important issue for the companies. And in a cluster, normally there are many opportunities to find companies willing to share a kind of mission, a kind of international action, normally supported by the clusters or by the associations. So, in this point, also the companies in a cluster normally find advantages. So for this reason, I think that success is very linked to the clusters, and is a very well word placed in the title of my explanation. So the second word is cooperation. Why cooperation? We need cooperation, or the companies need cooperation, of course. In a globalized world, the size is very important. So the advantage in a cluster for the companies is that they can be bigger, trying to find common points to boost action, to boost activities, joint activities, and this could be an advantage in order to compete with big actors in the worldwide markets. So, for this reason, size in the clusters is a good advantage, and it depends to the companies to find these common points. But the chances are close in the cluster, or closer if they are not out of the cluster. So, size is a good point for the clusters in cooperation, under the cooperation umbrella. The other point in clusters related to collaboration is public administration. Of course, this is essential to create a good frame, a stable frame for the companies to make business together, better together, of course. As Michael Porter not invented, because the cluster is a natural phenomenon, but they put the name and define it. What is a cluster? But as you know, the triple helix is composed by the public administration, the knowledge, and the industry. So for this reason, it is essential that the public administration is involved from the very beginning of the way of any cluster. This is essential because they can give us not only money. It's very important, no money, not honey, as Americans say always. But this is not only the best thing that the public administration can give us support to the companies, to the cluster. The best issue for the public administration is that they are very close to the companies. They are very close to the company. And this means that they are very quick in catching the needs from the companies, from the industry, in order to make tools, make action, facilitate whatever that they can offer to the companies and to the clusters. So, public administration are in the main pillar of a cluster, but also they have to be in contact, not only but in contact in a daily routine of the companies. And the cluster is the hub between the public administration and the companies. The third issue in cooperation umbrella is big projects. Normally, you know that the textile industry are composed by SMEs. So if we want to launch a big project, for example, like a pilot plant for any very new technology, one only company is impossible normally, because they don't have resources to boost an initiative of investment in a new technology, a new plant for pilot, etc. So in a cluster you can find other companies willing to cooperate to launch a new product, a new pilot plant in companion with the public administration or the research institute or the university. For this reason, it's very important that big projects could be launched inside the cluster, and this is a key point for the clusters also. And last but not least, in the umbrella of cooperation, I would like to just say a typical sentence, together stronger. This is not new, but this is real, because and only SME is very difficult to up the head and make visible to any kind of issue related with the industry, to defend any problem, to defend any I don't know, any expectation. So for this reason, I think that the together stronger in the clustering is essential, because this is the clue for the cluster in order to be more visible and to launch together initiatives that it could be impossible alone. And the third word is the first word, cluster. Cluster. Let me give you some words about our cluster, my cluster. I am the pleasure to have today my vice president here before the speaker about recycling in filaments. So I will give you some words about how we built our cluster 10 years ago, more or less, because our cluster came from a traditional association with the traditional services, you know, labor services or training services, or this kind of traditional services delivered by the traditional association. But 10 years ago, more or less, our steering committee decided to implement a new vision in the association, in order to be closer to the companies and their needs. So in this sense, we created inside the association a new vision with the same stuff, but with a different vision. So in this sense, we are very happy to say today that after 10 years work, we have a different association and a new cluster all together, but at the end giving good services and good support to our companies in the daily routine. So we created different value services, mainly focused in two branches. In innovation, trying to give specialized services for our industries in order to help them to find subsidies in Europe or subsidies at regional level. And also we try every day to give some specific services related to help the companies to make their tax or their products more innovative, in order to show opportunities, to look for new partners, to show the best practices in the market in other clusters. I will talk later about our experience with other clusters in collaboration. So for us, it's very crucial today that the companies find in the cluster material services, not only ethereal services. That it is good, but not enough for the companies. And the second branch that we developed was a kind of service to look for new business opportunities. In this sense, we are participating very active in different tables, very close to the European Commission, and also we are participating like a partner in the European Textile Association, Regiotex. So for us it's very important to look for opportunities, and when we back home, try to give this vision, these opportunities, these chances to our companies in a formal way with 2 technicians in our association and in a formal procedure to take the information, define the frame, send the information, and catch, let's say, catch their interest in every single opportunity for them. So these 2 branches today is essential for our cluster. And we realize that we are in the right way, because companies are day a day trying to get involved in more actions in the association. So the more closer to the companies, the better for the cluster and even for the competitiveness of the companies and the industry. So this is our experience, and I think that it was very hard because we spent 2 years in trying to define the frame of the cluster inside the association in 3 main phases. The first phases was the exploration, trying to identify what was the expectation of the companies in order to, in the second phase, design different services. We defined different services, but at the end only took 2, the 2 branches that I said before. But and the last phase was the implementation, and we spent 1.5 years trying to implement this kind of services, taking care of about the owners of the companies, trying to be very close to the owners of the companies, taking their expectation, taking their opinions in order to define better the final services. It was very important also the communication in the cluster, because if you do something but you are able to make it visible, this doesn't exist, you know. So for us, it was very important to change the policy of communication with other companies. It was a key point. It was a key point for us, try to keep more in contact with them through the communication, of course by email, but also the physical communication, trying to do more meetings, more events in the cluster, and trying to catch the expectation from the owners of the companies. So, finish this part of my presentation, but finally to finish my speech, I will give you some words about, I think, nice initiative that we launched 2.5 years ago under the umbrella of the European Association. I can see some partners from Regiotex. I'm going to talk about Regiotex initiative, and I think it's a nice initiative, and I'm very happy to see that we have some partners like Mr. Venturini, Arianna, and sorry if I can see another partners, but I know that there are many partners here from Regiotex initiative. Regiotex initiative is a collaboration initiative under the umbrella of the European Textile Association, Eurotex. It was really a challenge try to put around a table different textile regions along Europe. Today, this initiative are composed by 15 regions, textile regions in Europe, more or less 45 people in this initiative, and we have a steering committee integrated mainly for the public administration, high-level administration, normally the ministers, regional minister of industry or economy, and also some Sherpas with this kind of high-level public representatives. And I have another working group integrated by technicians of the different clusters of the regions, like Enrico, Arianna, and me too, of course. What we are doing in this initiative? From the very beginning, we realized that we are complementarities regions. We can find complements for our companies in other regions in order to, for example, launch, as I said before, pilot plans for new technologies, for example. It's very easy to see that we talk the same language in different regions. We have the same problems in different regions, and it not depends on the subsector. In garments, in dyeing, in any kind of industry, we have the same problems normally, and many of these problems were today said here by my predecessors, speakers. For example, textile is not attractive for the young people. This is a very important issue for the industry, for the present, but especially for the close future. So, in this table, it is very easy to find partners to launch projects, especially European projects, because you know that the cluster is a good tool for the European Commission, because this tool for them is a good way to, let's say, give money to the territories, but also for the companies. So this is a good combination for the European Commission, and this is a good tool for the European Commission. In fact, they are integrated also in this table, this initiative, Regiotex. For this reason, I think that Regiotex is an evolution of the clustering of the textile clusters in Europe. In fact, I think that Regiotex is a cluster of clusters. So this is very good, because the main issue around the table always is the cooperation. So that's all that I wanted to say, and thank you for your patience. It's very late and many speakers, many information, but I have to say that for me it's a pleasure to have this hat. I'm very comfortable having this hat of cluster manager, because this is my daily routine. Thank you, Arianna, for inviting me. I am also part of Context with my association at EVAL, and it's a pleasure to be here and to share any information that you need from my side. Thank you so much.